Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Duval Dive. Of course, I am Kyle Nash, the student of the game of Fans First Sports Network.
And I'm Travis Holmes with BigCatCountry.com.
And we're doing this thing for you on the Believe Podcast Network. Duval Divers, I have to tell you, these episodes that we're about to crank out here, leading up to week one, facing the Carolina Panthers, Duval Devout, I know you're excited for it already, but these episodes upcoming, off-season in general, and I'm speaking as a podcaster just in general, not just bringing you the Duval Dive here with my personal champion, has become easier than ever before with you Duval divers out there. Because y'all come in to hell with the top rope. Imagine King Kong doing the people's elbow off of the Empire State Building onto your head. To hell with the top rope. That's how much intelligence you bring into these conversations, and I see them not only in the comments when we do the live streams, but also in the mailbag. That's right. We did another mailbag thinking we wouldn't have a whole lot of content. You guys fix that problem real fast. We got a series of them. Me and Travis always do our best to get the best questions out there. And just because, hey, listen, you call us ball knowers, and I know my personal champion is one, but you guys know a thing or two. You ask intelligent questions, and we like intelligent talk. So, with that all in mind, let's get underway. First question. It's Ian D. At It's Ian D on, looks like, there's Twitter. How impressed have you been with management office from player acquisition to coaching players to accountability since the bulky firing, now that we've got more time to reflect on it since January? Obviously, got to prove it on the field, but so far, how do you feel? In other words, do you feel like the Jags won in the offseason? Golly, I'll let you wrap it up as the card-carrying member, but I'll lead off because you're the card-carrying member. From somebody from the outside looking in, duh, it's amazing. F them picks, all of it. My line has continued to be let the healing begin. But I think the proof in the pudding, Travis, and how much I've enjoyed what I've seen is me taking something that was once literally by the Duval Devout, specifically by Duval Divers, one diver in between, NSFB,
yeah. NSFB on Discord,
who asked for our crackheadiest take, and I suggested the Jags can win the division. Now, granted, part of it is because the Texans did their best to not improve, but the other half is the Jags improving to where suddenly even Vegas is kind of like, you know what? Somebody's got, in the words of Locked On Magics and my good friend Philip Rossman Reich said, somebody's got to win the AFC South. Why isn't it the Jags, right? And granted, that's a very pessimistic take. That's not one that's necessarily shared by members of the Duval Devout. But nonetheless, even outside the building, you're getting acknowledgement that the Jags can make a difference in this division and sneak into playoff conversation, which, by the way, if you think that's going to happen, Duval Devout, last I talked with our friend David Behrman, that was a 10-1 hit to bet for Coach of the Year. So shout out to David Barron, betting with Behrman, member of the Believe Podcast Network himself. So if that doesn't tell you how I feel about what this front office has done, I don't know how much more direct I can be. Travis, how do you feel?
Well, I think, I will be lying if I said anything other than I'm ecstatic and hopeful based on everything that they've shown, based on the clarity that they've shown in their pressers, based on the actions that they've put behind those words, most importantly, and their consistency in what they've actually done as far as building this roster and saying, hey, we're going to be bold, and then actually being bold with a lot of the transactions, whether that's getting rid of guys who have been staples on this organization or allowing guys to truly compete and win spots, despite the fact that most people may not have thought Dewey Wingert would have been the starting option. And they did bring in Caleb Bransall, don't get me wrong, but they still were in that position to kind of make these guys earn it. And from across the board, other than maybe the quarterback position, I think that's reasonably where these guys have been. They've been clear with their vision. I think even the least ball knowingest Jacksonville Jaguars fan right now could probably understand what the vision is for this organization. Hey, man, they want to run the ball. They want to be efficient. They want to be physical. Cool. We fully understand it. And then they're bringing guys in who are really good at doing that in previous seasons. And I think overall, whether or not they're successful in 2025, you can understand what they're doing, unlike in previous seasons. So because of that, it's hard to say you're anything but excited about the potential future.
Yeah, the healing can begin. I can't front on that, to say the least. What we got next there, Travis?
All right. Well, next we have Carlos Alfredo, which is called C.A.
It
Reyes
is. That's
on
Carlos
X.
Reyes in the comments, right? Yeah. No, it
Yes,
did.
sir.
Did the preseason change your thoughts on how the Jags project in the season, good or bad? I think I may have accidentally answered my take on this already,
I
Travis,
think
by
so.
saying my crackheadiest take is now possible reality, even according to Vegas. So, Carlos, I'd hate to double back on an answer I just gave, but how the hell can I do any better than that? Travis, what do you think?
I mean, my original projections were that this Jacksonville Jaguars team was going to have a floor of 8 wins. That was sight unseen with this organization. I just thought the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2024 were injury-riddled team towards the end of the season, and they weren't a good team, to get me wrong, but they were in a sorry AFC South. I thought that was a 7-win team that just happened to win 4 games due to injuries towards the end of the season, with Trevor Lawrence, Evan Ingram, Christian Kirk, etc. So if I consider that to be a 7-win team, I think I'm not asking for a lot for this in this weak AFC South, with the Houston Texans having a weak offensive line, all the other teams having their issues. The Colts having their issues at quarterback with Danny Jones being the starter. Danny Dimes, yeah, right, like
Indiana Jones finna to get whipped. I hear you.
all of it. Yeah, so all of that added into the conversation. I'm like, dude, I'm asking you guys to win one more game. I feel like the bar, like I said on Wednesday's Duval Dive, I feel like the bar's in hell at that point. Like I feel like that is reasonable for an expectation for this Jacksonville Jaguars team, as long as they can reasonably stay healthy. Now, again, if you have an injury issue with Trevor Lawrence, you have an injury issue with Brian Thomas Jr. or something along those lines, I fully understand why there may be a situation where the Jaguars end up winning 7 games. I'm not here trying to be crazy in the expectation land. But I do say my expectations originally were at 8 wins. And after seeing the processes for this Jacksonville Jaguars GM, the processes for the Jacksonville Jaguars head coach, and how they're operating, seeing Anthony Campanelli truly try to call some real blitzes and call some defense in the preseason, I think I might have been being low with that 8-win total. Like I might push that bad boy up to 9 to 10, but at least 9 is my floor. So it's not a huge change. But I will say, just based on preseason, it gives a little bit more hope that I can say, all right, cool. I think y'all probably should be competing for the AFC South Championship, or at least a wild card spot late in the season. And if you're not, I do feel like it will be a disappointment. And that's just because they've given that slight little edge of hope.
Yeah, no, I've seen some people come out with 11 wins. I'm like, that's a bit much, but yeah, I understand the hope from the Duval Dive in
11 is with hope included. 11 means everything went right and you guys stayed healthy, bro.
And yeah, CJ Stroud missed some games or something. I don't know. I got nothing. I can't go that far. Patrick Lavon Mahomes II missed the Monday night game, and the Jags played good on Monday. Something different would have to happen. Yes, I'm implying that the Jags don't play well on Monday very much. Granted, they don't play on Monday much at all. Details. What's next, buddy?
All right. So who's in the Jaguars Discord? And he says a lot about the running backs, basically.
I'll read this so you don't have to, right? Between Etienne and Jacob, what do you think the biggest playmaker is on offense? Okay. I think that's pretty easy, that it's depending on the situation, right? But
in essence, the real question that he's asking is later down in the question is, how do you think the Jaguars running backfield is going to be utilized under Coen? That's the core of the question, essentially, right? So where do you land with this Jacksonville Jaguars running back room? I know it's going to be a committee. I get it. Sure. But how do you think it lands?
And I think you have a different starter every week. It's not just committee. It's situation based, right? Like it's the way nowadays, whenever you're watching college or some NBA teams, it's positionless basketball, right? With this running back core, when we talk about by committee, I very literally expect a different guy starting versus the Panthers than I do the Bengals than I do whoever, is up next for week 3. I could very realistically see a scenario where Tank comes out week 1, Etienne comes out week 2, and Tootin comes out in week 3 as starters at some point in time. Will it happen? I don't know. But if it does, I'm not prepared to rule it out. Why? Because of the slightly differing skill sets of each of the running backs. And we haven't even brought up Hines-Allen yet, who could come in on 3rd and longs to protect and also be an opportunity for a release valve if disaster happens, all of it. Yeah, and that's not even speaking of to which running back will also be on special teams. Right, I think we both alluded to the fact that Bashaw Tootin could do that. So, yeah, I feel like it's that versatile. This is why I think both of us are stoked with these 4 guys being left to dress.
Well, I'm less worried about which guy's going to start because starting is overrated. I mean, and I'm really more focused on which guy's going to have the most production or which guy's going to have the most snaps, material snaps. So I don't mean snaps because again, if Hines-Allen has the most quote unquote snaps, and then all he's doing is pass protecting and not running routes, then who cares about those snaps? I'm talking about snaps in production. And
I'm talking about carries, not snaps.
From carries and or receptions and targets out of the backfield, those material snaps, not like those old school New England Patriots whenever they had the white fullback in, and he was the only running back on the field, but he wasn't doing anything in the passing game or the running game.
Evans out of this, you humpy bumpy.
You know what I'm saying, though. I forgot the dude's name, but I'm like, hey, I know when he's on the field, he ain't getting the ball.
It for you, it's okay.
Yeah. So overall, I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to start this bad boy off with Travis Etienne, maybe getting a lot of the early carries earlier in the year. And then maybe you're going to flip it up again week by week with the whole hot hand committee, like they wanted to do in the 2024 Tampa Bay Buccaneers backfield before they had injury issues earlier in the season. And I think they want the incumbent, which is Travis Etienne, to be the guy while still sprinkling in Tank Bigsby and Bashaw Tootin and Hines-Allen and all of that. But eventually the goal is going to be with the result of Tootin's going to show if he's able to not fumble the ball, that he's going to be that better back of the future at some point throughout this season. That's where I think it's eventually molds and merges into, with Tootin kind of taking the roles of that, Travis Etienne role. But starting out, I think it's going to be committee, I think we all can clearly see as far as how this is kind of shaped. And by the middle of the season, I don't know, week 6, week 8, somewhere in that range of that bye week, that you're going to start seeing, all right, this is Tootin time.
By week 8, if they trade him right by the trade deadline, I'm joking.
Well, that you are talking about trade deadline time frame. And then otherwise, so I think that's how it's going to probably end up with this is going to be Bashaw's backfield by the end of the season. But for starting out and week by week, it's going to be pick your poison. And I would not want to be the one to have to figure out which one of these guys to draft if you're a fantasy football lover for season fantasy football drafts.
I can't front on any of that. What do we got on the docket here? Okay. Now let's spill T's tea here. I totally respect health privacy, which, by the way, T, I don't know if you know, I may not have mentioned it specifically on the show yet. I mentioned I've been in business intelligence. I've done business intelligence for various areas of the healthcare system. So when you say something about health privacy, HIPAA, as you people would probably know it best as, I'm uniquely sensitive to this topic. So I'll lead with that, right? It's all right,
Kyle Gladstone.
Right, exactly. I totally respect health privacy, but any insight into teams seemingly keeping injuries more private. Talking in relation to Ransaw being out for the year, I get it. Just have noticed a shift. I feel like back in the day, we'd know Ransaw's injury, but now it's lower body injury. I'll see that and raise you the concept that betting's part of things now too. That even more surprises me how quiet they're keeping it. But listen, this is a Belichickian thing, man. This, in my opinion, this is a copycat league thing, right? If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, and technically you don't have to disclose it, so it's not cheating anyway. Right. And by the way, how many teams The answer is 32. How many teams hide dudes on IR because they're a little nicked up at this time? Maybe they'll pop them, maybe not. There's just so many different ways they're manipulating that. I'm not mad at it, but it's a thing that happens, right? So, but for me, I'm always going to side with the air quotes patient. I don't need to know necessarily what, let's say, I think you mentioned Ransaw in here, T.
Mhm.
I more think the better example is the upper body injury. I'm going to air quote the bejesus out of that Travis Hunter had. You can't tell if it's his shoulder or something. Like, what are we doing here?
Well,
Upper body injury. Does he have a concussion? That's an upper body injury. Oh, you don't want me to take it there, do you? It's cheesy, but again, I'm always going to side with protecting the patient or the player in this case. Travis, what do you think?
Well, I thought this was an interesting question when it was originally asked, because I'm like, are they giving less information? And then I'm like, my knee-jerk reaction was like, no, they've always done this, right? Like, haven't they always not given us very much? And then I went back and looked in last year. I looked at multiple pressers from last season with this question, because I just could have swore my memory was playing tricks on me. And no, I'm looking at training camp. I'm looking at OTAs and conversations with Doug Peterson, with Press Taylor, all these guys just last year. And we're looking at Ventrell Miller. We know he has a broken hand. You're looking at Ezra Cleveland. This was what was it? He had ended up having a ankle issue. We know Keelan Robinson's specific toe sprain. We knew all the specifics of these injuries.
Exactly. I can bottom line it for you. And if I apologize, I'm stealing your thunder, but it pisses me off in this way. There was no such thing as an upper body or lower body injury just a few years ago. That I feel like, and I can't track it right.
But this was last year. This was last training
the Jags are disclosing it. What I'm saying is the first time I remember hearing upper body or lower body injury was connected to a Belichick era with the Patriots. Tom Brady has a lower body injury. Not that it was Brady, but you see where I'm going. Has a lower body injury or an upper body injury. That sounds like some ish the Patriots would do.
So there's two ways of looking at this, right? One way is, wouldn't you want to copy Bill Belichick them? Like, let's be clear. Like,
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just telling you that's when I first heard it.
Isn't that the route to go? But the second part about this is, but then how much was the previous Jacksonville Jaguars leadership group fumbling the bag and giving away stuff
that's a great point.
And giving away stuff that was unnecessary, if that's the case. Like, you can obviously then make the argument that they're fumbling layups, fumbling layups, but you know what I mean. They're missing layups. They're missing the easy things by giving us extra information that they, technically speaking, don't have to give, while also being an organization in the front office who generally did not want to have these media conversations because they were scared of giving away too much extra information. It was a weird dichotomy when you're saying, I'm going to not want to talk to the media, while also when I do talk to the media, I'm gonna tell them everything. So maybe that's why I don't want to talk to the media. Like, I never even thought about this until this question came up, and I'm like, dang, that's real funny. So then you have to ask the secondary question in reference to this organization of, why are you folks so excited to talk or to give these guys credit for being so personable and so upfront and give so much information, when in reality you're also saying that they don't want to give any information specifics as far as that's concerned, as far as injuries are concerned. And I'm like, oh, I see. They're willing to get in front of the camera more often. They're willing to still have conversations and talk to you more often, but they're also not going to disadvantage themselves and giving away the game. They're basically playing this thing real close to the vest, but still giving you what you want to hear.
Listen, Jimmy Stones has the bravery. No, it makes a ton of sense. Has the bravery to sit in front of you. I think where fans feel more like the disclosure is genuine. And you alluded to it. They just appear in front of the camera as Bulky would hide from it, like Littlefinger. And there's an element of that that's 1,000,000,000% true. No one's invalidating that. That's obviously the biggest thing. I would also say, that there's an element, granted, the injury situation, it does not apply. Obviously, Jimmy Stones is holding that back. And rightly so, to your point. Why not copy Bill Belichick, the alleged GOAT, until he gets passed up by Andy Reid? I said what I said. Punchline's this. No, it's not. Andy Reid is going to pass Bill Belichick. I said what I said. Ain't no damn exaggeration.
That you like BTJ.
Bruh. Look at Belichick's record versus Andy Reid, and you come back to me with that ish. Anyways.
All right.
Anyways, the punchline big. I feel like, and because there's an element, I think of call it whiplash, call it knee-jerk reaction, whatever.
Yeah.
That Gladstone is so different from Bulky that
Facts.
Bulky has come out and said, "Oh, hey, we need to get more physical up front," and it doesn't happen. Jimmy Stone says, "F them picks." And we're going to be bold. Granted, that's not the exact timeline, but for dramatic effect, right? We're going to be bold. That is in the timeline. And sure as hell, they go up. They go from 5th to 2nd. They make a move that every member of a card-carrying member of the Duval Dive will tell you, sure as hell, Littlefinger would not do.
Yep.
At the very least, and it's ironic because I'm uniquely, yeah. It's ironic because I'm also respectful of this as a Niner fan that John Lynch did the same thing. Hey, we're going to do this. And they did it. Gladstone comes in. We're going to do this. And they did it, where Bulky in both cases did neither.
They earned the respect. James Gladstone, in that one move, earned the respect of Jacksonville Jaguars fans in a way that Trent Baalke never could. Because Trent Baalke was brought in under a losing general manager as Trent Baalke, who was also a losing general manager. If you know what I mean. Like he wasn't a losing record-wise, but he had the feeling.
To know what you mean.
But he has a feeling of a losing general manager, and no one in Duval County wanted him hired when he was hired. So Baalke never had the respect of Duval County, and he had to earn it. James Gladstone earned it simply by making that first move, and now he's working from a place of power from that point moving forward.
I mean, Trent Baalke was the dude that got Jim Harbaugh fired. James Gladstone's a guy that's had lunch with Sean McVay, so that automatically qualifies you for an NFL job.
That's interesting. That is intriguing. I never thought about the fact that James Gladstone, all he had to do was draft the guy who all Duval County wanted, and from that moment on, he was always going to be speaking, drafting, communicating from a place of power, and Baalke was always coming from a place of, well, Littlefinger. Like he was always coming from a negative spot from the start. That's interesting.
I can capture the what you're talking about in 3 little words that I've already said, but I love saying them, so I'll say it again. Bleep them picks.
Yeah, bleep them picks. But also, Nash, we got one more question, bro. We got to ask it. Why do you have a Texans player in your background on a Jacksonville Jaguars podcast? You don't know about the AFC South? You don't know how much we hate them, dude? Are you a secret Texans fan? Answer the audience, dude.
We've answered this question already, for the love of Pete. We did this on the show in a YouTube comment. And frankly, if it weren't for the fact that the Duval divers were already certified to dive deep, I'd be a little bit more miffed about this, but I'll give you a pass. Y'all act like I have Brian Hoyer on my wall, for Christ's sake. What are we doing here? It's JJ bleeping Watt. What's wrong with you? If you don't have a man crush on JJ Watt, you're doing it wrong. I said what I said.
I must be doing it wrong. I told you just last week. I just told you last week. I wasn't a fan of JJ Watt's skis, his vibe, whatever you want to call it. That fake aura. That's
what you mean being awesome. That's a problem.
Man, JJ Watt is white Russell Wilson. That's all I know. Like he is the same. They are the same. That is not real,
sir. Sir,
that's not who that dude is.
I am glad you did not come to my house this weekend and try to say that in front of my. Yeah, that is you 100%.
That is not who that dude is. Let me spray some Jerry curl juice on these curls. Whatever, bro. That's it. Man, that is it. Like that cannot be real.
I just had you in my house. I am glad you did not say that in my face. I'm not saying I would fight you, but I would be hurt and I would probably cry.
Sorry for your loss, bro. But nah, that's what it is, man. I appreciate you guys giving us these
Damn, that's
questions.
cold-blooded, champion. Oh my God.
We still got more questions on this mailbag, but I gotta go to sleep. So we're gonna get to it. But
how am I gonna sleep after you just said sorry for your loss? What do we do?
Hey man, if he dies, he dies. This is Rocky. This is how this goes. I don't know.
He does. Ironically, going for an extremely right Russian guy who's big, strong, and fast like J.J. Watt. Next question.
I liked him because he was who he should. He was who he normally is. He's not acting for the cameras. That man said if he dies, he dies. J.J. Watt would be like, I love everybody. Nah, bro. No, you don't. Stop
You don't
lying.
think J.J. Watt love everybody?
No, I don't.
Okay, listen. I mean, you're just a pessimistic human, and that's okay. I'm not mad at you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Where can you be found? Let the people know where you can be found, sir.
Snap. He's messing the order. Of course, I'm Kyle Nash, the student of the game. You can find me on Fans First Sports Network, writing for your Jacksonville Jaguars, and as well as the Orlando Magic. And then also my work covering the UCF Knights. They just had their opener. I hope you check that out, blackandgoldbanneret.com. And if you haven't yet, get a hold of your life. If you're a UCF fan, check out the Night Shift live on the Night Shift YouTube channel. Like and subscribe that for all things UCF, sport, football, basketball, and otherwise. An honor, joy, and privilege to bring that to you, as well as the Bolt Blitz Uncut. They'll be doing their reactions with Booga Peters. Make sure you check that out. Of course, I am the producer for that show. So, the thumbnails and the things and making it run is where I live with that. And on occasion, you'll hear me have an opinion. I had to have a Trey Lance opinion as a Niner and on a Chargers show. How about that? That was odd. It was fun, though, and it was good. So check that out, too, if you're looking to know thy foe, because I know eventually a Chargers matchup is happening. Who knows? Maybe we'll rope Booga Peters in for that at some point down the line. That's all the things. Champion, where can you be found?
Hey man, you can find me on all the socials, Travis D. Holmes, whether it's Blue Sky, whether it's X, everywhere, whatever. If I'm on it, I'm available to talk some Jaguars football and maybe even a little bit of Canadian football and college football, like that UCF game last night.
Right.
Fire. In the audience with my brother and my friends, bro. That was a great time. I have no idea what happened. We're pre-recording, but just so you know, it was an incredible game. Yes. You can find my writings.
At least you waited till the end episode. You waited till the end of the episode to tell on yourself. That works. I like that.
I like it. No, man. You can find all my writings covering the Jacksonville Jaguars on BigCatCountry.com, man. Lock it in. Save us as a favorite. All the things, man. If you listen to the sound of my voice, like and subscribe us on the Duval Dive on YouTube. Please rate and review us wherever you catch your podcast, Apple, Spotify. And again, we appreciate you guys continuing to contribute these questions to us. Keep it locked in. Keep it coming. We'll always keep you guys covered, and we will do our best to answer any reasonable question. I do say reasonable because some of y'all wild in these streets, but y'all understand.
I mean, we did this J.J. Watt thing. That reasonable thing is in air quotes right now, Travis.
Like I always say, the bar is in hell. I love it, bro. Like, let's go. So for Mr. Kyle, the student of the game, Nash, I am Travis Holmes with BigCatCountry.com. We appreciate you guys and show.
Till next time, everybody. Class dismissed.